is what we might want to think about doing is funding that, creating a fund for that liability, and that would be the same fund that we could potentially use for maybe using some folks that want to, in either of these two programs, might do that kind of vacation coverage. And so we have a funding source, and we have a structure to pay down some of the liability. So just as an idea, we could work through some of these kind of ideas, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
What's the funding source?
I'm sorry?
What's the funding source to, that you say we have a funding source?
We'd have to come up with it, right? We naturally have to find a way, and probably, as we get into, FY15 planning, I think we could, barring a huge problem like we had this year,
Right.
potentially put aside some money that would make us do a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, Gene?
Not on that one, no.
On anyone?
There's another article.
Which one?
I don't know where it is on your warrant. To accept Chapter 653.
Let's see.
See it on there? Let me see.
I know I saw 2 emails, Gene, so there's 2 out there.
I did send them to.
While we're looking at that, most of these are the standard, right, that we're seeing? Like, every year we gotta re-up some of these?
Yeah, well, again, it was like Article 18, to see if the town will transfer a sum of money from the Community Preservation Affordable Housing account. That's something new. I would like to see some kind of report on what was done in the year. You know what I mean, to warrant keeping a part-time affordable housing coordinator, just to bring us up to speed what's been going on.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ADA work's on here as well. If you look at, where is it? 19 is part of Kevin's ADA.
Was it on it? Did you find it?
It's not on your warrant.
Can you explain it to us?
You got it.
To see if the town will vote to accept Chapter 653, Section 40 of the Acts of 1989, commencing with fiscal year 2014 or act, or do anything in relation thereto.
Okay, so
This
what does that mean?
legislation allows the town to assess physical improvements added to real property between January 2nd and June 30th for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st.
So is this the thing that pulls it in a little sooner in terms of your ability to assess?
Yes. There are restrictions, like the assessment should be at least 50% of the total amount of the property. So it would deal much more with new construction, major improvements. Things like sheds and pools wouldn't qualify. But it would allow us to pull in that 6 months worth of that new growth in the previous year instead of waiting. Now, the January 1st assessment date still holds in that the valuations would still be as of January 1st. But anything that gets built within that period would be counted in that year. Most communities in Massachusetts have accepted that. What? Yeah.
I'm sure one of the assessors will be well-versed to explain it to the voters on that.
That would probably be me.
What are we paying those guys for then if we're not?
Nothing.
We're not paying them.
You're not paying them. I wouldn't bring that up if I were you. That's a sore subject.
I know a lot of people not getting paid. Right, Rich?
A lot of us know a lot about that, yeah.
You do it for love, not for money. Anything else?
Yeah, just the,
Oh, go ahead.
the mosquito controls on here, it's actually 2 articles, 23 and 24. I think we talked about, we actually mentioned it to town council, whether or not you can create a single article to make it dependent on the funding source. So right now, the mosquito program can pass, the override may not pass at the
Right.
ballot. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, can we check with Bob to see if that can be consolidated into a single article, so you have the, does that make sense?
Yes, and you also, someone was concerned that it says for a 3-year period, because that's the way the Board of Health originally
Mhm.
said that the
Right.
first
Yep.
motion, or the first article, they haven't, they weren't prepared to, the articles aren't due until tomorrow, so.
Okay.
But I stuck that in there because we had that from last time. And I will check it out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
We got a
Thanks, Gene.
placeholder
Good
for
night.
town coordinator override. So we need to provide language if we intend to do something like we just talked about earlier.
Right.
And highway has the sidewalk plow on here. I hesitate on that one until we hear back. Alan's gonna sit down with Upton to understand what potential opportunities are there on some shared services.
Yeah, he said it was $136,000 and he was going to try to lease it. But I don't know if you want it to be one of the articles that you want on there and then pass over it if you don't, if you change it.
Well,
It has to get signed next Monday.
The only problem with it, like an item like a sidewalk plow, and I'm not saying that it's out of the question, but sidewalks are critical to schools opening, right? So are we saying that, okay, we'll wait for another town to finish up with theirs so that ours can get done, could potentially put us out another day, especially in a storm like we had. So a sidewalk plow, I don't know, I don't find that as one of the so-called usable items. I mean, I would just have to, and that's just shooting from the hip on that, but, I mean.
How are we getting by without one today?
I believe we borrowed the one that was at Imperial, if, I know it was extended to us to use if we needed it.
Just how much?
Said we're just not plowing.
Or either that, or we just didn't plow it, or we put the plow up on the
Well,
sidewalk and drove it down.
There's a couple of different avenues. Number one is, just how much sidewalk do we have? Are we gonna go down to all the subdivisions and do the sidewalks, or? Yes,
If you look at the law, it's the residents' responsibility to plow their own sidewalk.
well, I was gonna come to that. So a lot of cities and towns have an ordinance where that the,
Boston, you get a fine if you don't.
all right.
So instead of an override, let's put in a
Fine,
fine.
out there in shovel.
No, I hesitate, because I just want to be very, I want to be kind of conservative. I mean, I think we got to look
I'm
at
not
it.
saying that it needs to be on there, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that a sidewalk plow to me would be one of those items that, is a time-sensitive item.
Is it?
If we're required, what do the walkers do? They walk to school. I mean, they probably do get a ride from their parents, I would assume at this point, but at some point, the sidewalk needs to be clear in front of the school. The kids will be walking on the road.
Well, wouldn't that be the school's responsibility to clear the sidewalk in front of the school?
In front of
Well,
the
maybe in front of the,
Aren't they doing that?
maybe in front of the school, and I believe they do for the piece that's
Maybe
in
we're
front
talking
of
to the
the
wrong
school.
people. Maybe we should be looking at the school too, to see, I mean, they must be contracting it out, right?
I don't know.
I'm just
who's
trying to
doing it. I didn't look.
I'm trying to anticipate
Yeah,
on the town meeting floor, people's, again, saying, how much sidewalk do we have?
fair enough. I'd just,
Are you gonna come down and do my sidewalk? I live down in the south end of town.
we're not doing yours, no.
I don't
No,
have a sidewalk.
I guess I'm, with everything that's out there, is this really the
I guess what's
primary-
the real rule too? I mean,
Right.
let's find out what the rules are.
Rich?
I completely agree with what you're saying there, Mr.
Town
Chairman,
council.
and also, I mean, I just think that, we've suffered, and we've gotten so much better at it the last several years, of kind of doing your top-down planning that, you know, we just talked about capital planning committee a
Sure.
little while ago, and we should have them do their due diligence to see, you know, what it is in order of
Right.
priority that we need, so that we can talk to the residents and say, look, given what we're looking at, here are the top needs and priority. Because we can't give them that recommendation unless we've done that due diligence.
True. So, Diane, make a note to ask interim town coordinator to look into to see if we have any type of bylaw that, or is it a state statute for clearing sidewalks in front of a residence? And what it would take if we don't, or there is no statute, what it would take to incorporate a bylaw into it. Maybe that's something we could put the bylaw review committee on too. Delegate the work out. Does anybody have anything else? Willem?
Okay, I will be sending in a letter of interest for serving on the capital planning committee.
So moved. I move to appoint Willem Manager to the capital planning committee pending receipt of his letter of interest.
I'll second that.
Term to expire.
June 30th, 2013. We'll reappoint him in the upcoming appointments. One of them's going to expire this year, so. Oh, more than
Second
one.
that.
Huh?
I'll second that again.
Sold.
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Willem to the capital planning committee for a term to end in June 30th, 2013. Any further discussion? Can a selectman be on that?
I don't believe so, actually. I think there was a rule in there, wasn't there, for a selectman couldn't be on it? I thought there was a rule that a finance member couldn't be on it, but I guess I was wrong. Oh, yeah, it was the other way around.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Maybe that's something, Willem, you could look into as one of your first jobs when you show up at the first meeting saying, hey, let's see if we can suck one of the selectmen into.
Yeah, because I'll appoint my daughter immediately.
I'll second that. Rich?
Article 22, Diane, you can remove that one. That one was a result of an error I apparently made.
Article 22?
Yeah, 22 is not necessary. That's actually an article, it's in Article 4 under selectmen expense. I've moved it.
To fund the FY14 audit?
Because it is, it's part of the 420, your expense line items under your
Okay,
budget, so I moved it.
okay. Alrighty, anything else from anybody? Mark, you got anything?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
A motion's been made and seconded to adjourn this meeting.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night,
Opposed?
everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for
Tuning in.
staying with us.